After a few days of enjoying our beautiful campsite in the Frisco campground on Cape Hatteras Island, we decided it was finally time to venture out, so we made the drive over to the other side of the island where the famous Cape Hatteras lighthouse is located. Luckily, most of the exhibits are accessible from the outdoors and it's dog friendly, so we were able to bring Red. It always kind of changes our planning when we have the dog with us, so we have to work around what we're able to do with the dog, but it's totally worth it. So we were able to see the lighthouse, and across from it is the lightkeeper's house, which was turned into a museum. So we did our usual switch. One of us stays outside with the dog, the other person gets to go in and see the exhibits, and then we switch. Inside the lighthouse, they have some exhibits about the restoration projects, and the most interesting part of this was that the lighthouse was originally located much closer to the water, but due to erosion, it was at risk of being destroyed. So they devised this plan and built these special rollers to move the entire lighthouse inland, which took quite a bit of time because it was slow progress, but now the lighthouse is at this location where it is safe, and hopefully in the future they'll have the steps open so you can go inside. On our way home, there was this little frog clinging to the side of the car. We were able to stop and throw him in the woods safely.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's that dog doing? So we were trying to figure out why the fan wasn't working and Pat was kind of moving this stuff. And we knew these are super loose. They just kind of wiggle around. We've had it happen in the past where after we've been on the road, you go over bumps, something in here like shifts a little bit, and then the outlet by the bed, this one where I usually charge my phone and my computer, just stops working. So last night the fan wouldn't work at all. Now the fan's working, but it's very slow. And then this outlet in the corner keeps going on and off. So we think it's just a problem with this. The wiring, like the way everything kind of fits together, is just loose, and there's a mosquito. And every time we move the Scamp, it jostles it around. I think Red wants to come in. He's getting hot. And then that's causing the electrical to like work and then not work, because Pat was kind of just pushing on the different pieces, and I had my phone charging over here and it would turn on and off just from him kind of pushing at the front there. So it is very loose and very finicky, which is definitely not good. So that's going to be another project on the list from when we get home. Demanding dog. But today is our last full day here. We leave tomorrow morning, so today we're just going to try to soak it in and enjoy it as much as we can. Oh, he wants to go in his tent. This dog, I tell you, something else. Are you a demanding dog? Yeah, okay. We forgot to leave your tent open, sorry. Patrick went surfing since today is the last full day that we are here. And that's really what this trip was about. It was actually, I'm usually the one who plans our trips and books everything, and I didn't do anything on this trip. Pat planned the whole thing because he had a new surfboard and he really, really wanted to go surfing. So he planned this whole trip for that. And we were talking about maybe going down to the beach, but it's really hot today. I think today's going to be the hottest day. And the problem we ran into was, well, for one, Red got really upset when Pat went in the water. I don't know why, but he was like kind of freaking out. So that was weird, but it was also really hot. Like the sand and the boardwalk and the asphalt to walk down to the beach is very hot. I can't walk on it without sandals on. So he didn't seem like it bothered him, but it probably did. So we were saying we don't really think we should walk him down here. It's like almost 11 right now, and I feel like the sand is probably already really hot. Another interesting thing that we've noticed is a lot of the plants and grassy areas have these spiky burrs. That's the bottom of my shoe from going for a walk yesterday. They just embed in anything. If you get one in your foot, it is quite painful. And I'm always worried that Red's going to get one in his paw, because then there will be like a 0 chance of him letting me actually take that out if he gets one stuck in his foot. So I try not to let him walk on the grass, but that doesn't help when it's super hot. So we will hang out here.
Overall, our experience at Frisco Campground was very quiet, but there is an airport next door, so every once in a while a plane takes off.
We're getting ready to have dinner. It is so nice out right now. It was really hot today in the sun, but since we have this little shaded area back here, it's very pleasant. Spent a little bit of time in the gazelle when I was working just to kind of keep the bugs away, but they're really not bad. I've had some incense sticks going, and Pat has the thermocell right there, which has made it very manageable to sit outside. And made some chicken and salad, and I think we're gonna go to the beach after we eat, because it was so hot today. It was too much, especially for the dog in the sun. But Pat got to surf a little bit. You said the surf wasn't good? No. But you had to paddle around a little bit. Yeah. That's the whole point of the trip. So, alright, let's eat. Yeah, I made a bunch, because then we can have chicken for tomorrow for driving.
Cool.
Red enjoyed chewing on a stick, and he would go back and forth between sitting outside and going into the gazelle depending on how he felt. We decided to spend our last evening by going down to the beach one more time.
We're doing the horseback ride. Did you? Yeah, I would love to do that. That's so neat.
Red enjoyed one last night being a maniac on the beach, and we soaked in the absolutely beautiful sunset. You really can't beat the sunsets here. We made our way back to the campsite for the night and just enjoyed a very relaxing evening. And we could call this the calm before the storm, because when we woke up the next day and started to get packed and ready to go, we realized that there were some pretty significant issues. The lights on the Scamp were not working at all, and we really couldn't figure out why.
Anything?
I don't know.
That's not good.
We didn't have any cell service, so we really couldn't even look anything up. So Pat decided to drive out of the campground to a school and try to do some things in the parking lot.
I have electrical cleaner in here.
Oh, you had some?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I thought you did.
Once we were out of the campground and we had cell phone service, Pat was able to call his friend Eric, who does a lot of work on old cars, and he talked him through a couple of things to try and check to see if we could figure out where the issue was. He cleaned some of the electrical connectors, changed fuses, and eventually ended up looking at the ground underneath the trailer. Pat tried to fix a bunch of different things and changed fuses and cleaned electrical connections to see if he could get anything to work, but nothing was really helping. And the bad part was it was a weekend and a holiday weekend, so everything was closed. There was no chance of getting to a mechanic or getting extra parts.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's the
We were starting to come to the conclusion that we were going to have to drive without having any lights on the trailer, which is a pretty big safety hazard and not something that we would have done if we had any other option, but we figured we would just be as careful as we could.
So still no lights. It's what is it? The ground wire?
Yeah,
Is
the ground
corroded?
terminal in the back was just totally corroded. I tried cleaning it, but it's just like, it's really bad. Even the terminal itself is just gunked up and dirty. And then even like I need to get down to bare metal and then drill back into the frame so it has ground again.
And we don't have any of the parts to do that.
I don't have a drill.
Right now.
I need to really get that clean.
Yeah.
I need a terminal. So, something like that. As far as I know.
So we're just gonna be as careful as possible.
Yeah. We still have brakes though. So
Yeah.
that's why I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
still
the
have
brakes are good. So it's just the lights.
Yeah. So and that makes sense. The two wires. I'm not an electrical engineer or anything, but the two wires that are splitting off are going to. You can see those going to the brakes. And you can see where probably for the lights, that's where it's grounded out at.
We started driving and Pat was just as mindful as possible of who was behind him, stopping really slowly, and I tried to modify the route as much as I could so that there were fewer turns so we didn't have to worry about using the blinker as much. And although it was a beautiful drive, we were feeling pretty stressed at this point. The good thing was we weren't driving all the way home today, and we were just going up a little ways to the Virginia Beach KOA. We had actually been really looking forward to this part of the trip because Pat booked a patio site at the KOA. We've never stayed at a patio site. It's not our usual style of camping, so normally we would be very excited, but it was difficult to be excited at this point.
So we are here. We're at the Virginia Beach KOA because this was the only spot that Pat could book. So July 4th weekend. It's very busy. We have a really nice site, but nothing is working. The fridge won't turn on because there's something wrong with the propane. So let me go back. This morning when we woke up, I went to make coffee, propane was out. So Pat goes to the general store when we were still on Cape Hatteras and does a bottle exchange. The new bottle is not working right. The fridge turned off, everything's kind of warm. The stove doesn't work. The electrical's not working.
There wasn't much that we could do at this point, so we just decided to go sit outside and enjoy the lovely patio site that we had. And it was actually pretty neat because we had a perfect view of the stage in the center. They had live music for July 4th and a bunch of different events going on, so we got to just kind of sit back and enjoy that from our site. They had some food trucks over on the other side, so we went and got some food that we wouldn't normally eat. Even Redford got a little bit of comfort food there. He loves French fries. That's one of his favorite things. So we tried to make the best of it and tried not to think about the fact that the Scamp was just kind of falling apart. And we were hopeful that we were going to make it to our next campsite. We had one more stop on our way home, and I think maybe it was good that the trip was broken up, that Pat didn't have to do all the driving in one day because it was a lot more stressful. The next morning, we took it really slowly. We enjoyed our patio site, and I have to say this is a different type of camping when we get to have this nice outdoor furniture and live entertainment. Very different from what we were doing in Cape Hatteras, but we enjoyed it, and we were stalling a little bit because we weren't looking forward to the drive. Our next leg of the trip, we were going to be going over to Maryland and staying at Pocomoke State Park. You may have also guessed that this was the most expensive night of camping that we have ever had, and I would have expected better internet considering what we paid for one night at this KOA on a holiday weekend, but I think you're really paying a lot for the different amenities and things, very family oriented, which of course is not really what we go for most of the time, but it was fun to have the patio and the chairs, and we were able to dump our tanks. So yay, something was working. We started our drive up to Maryland. Our next stop on this trip was a park that we have stayed at before, but we were staying in a different area, so it was going to be a new experience.
No trailers. It's not too busy. I wasn't sure if it would be like super packed today.
I thought it would be. I thought this parking lot would be full.
When we were staying at Pocomoke in March, we ended up coming to the wrong side. This is the Milburn side. And we were supposed to be on the other side of the river, which is Shad's Landing, and then today we did the opposite. We thought we were on Shad's Landing and we were supposed to be on the Milburn side. So it's like a 20-minute drive to go around because you have to get on the other side of the river, but it's a nice drive.
Sometimes RVing is just so much fun and it can be so adventurous and relaxing, but then other times it's just a mess and you feel like it is testing your patience and you're just constantly problem solving and trying to figure out things.
Wasn't really sure what to expect here, but this is a great spot.
Very nice.
Nice picnic table.
Water's in the middle. Makes sense.
Very level. You don't have to put any blocks underneath it. And look at the trees.
Seems like a pretty modern campsite.
Yeah, I'll go check out the bathhouse later. It's right there. And you can just barely see the water. It's over there. And in here, it looks fine, but we're still stuck in the same problem. We're plugged in. We actually have hookups here. We have an electric hookup. There's water in the middle, but no lights, no fan, except for this outlet, which is the weirdest thing ever. But at least we can plug in this fan. This fan actually works really well, but we used to have issues where after we would move, this outlet would stop working. It actually happened in Florida. I was trying to charge my phone and it wouldn't charge. Everything else was working fine at that point, and now it has switched. Nothing else will work except for that outlet, but at least we have one fan, and then we're just using all of our lights that are rechargeable so that when it gets dark we'll actually be able to see what we're doing in here. And we did eventually get the fridge on yesterday, but I don't know. I'm probably going to throw out a lot of the food anyway because it just got too warm. By the time we actually got it to work, it was too warm. But it is nice and quiet here.
We were glad that we made it here and very happy. This is a nice campsite, very clean, very modern, and we decided to sit outside and talk about our plan for the last leg of the trip to get home tomorrow.
Hour and 20 minutes to the ferry.
Okay. And then what time's the ferry?
12:15.
12:15.
Takes off.
Our reservation on the ferry was the other thing we were trying to work around because they're usually sold out on holiday weekends.
We're taking a little walk down to the water to check it out because it is supposed to start thundering in a little while, and I think it's supposed to keep going until we're leaving tomorrow, so this is probably our only chance to check it out. We really liked this park. It has hookups, the sites are clean and level. I think we would definitely stop here again. Although this side is quieter, it's a little bit more out of the way if we're traveling through this area, but might be worth it. Oof, now it's getting buggy.
Yeah.
Like humid and buggy now. Oh.
If the Scamp was behaving itself, this would have been a very pleasant night. We would have been able to use the fans and the lights and everything. At least there was a storm coming in, so that brought a little bit of a breeze because it was very hot in the 90s and pretty humid. but we've camped in worse. I guess our old tent camping skills make it possible when things don't work on the Scamp, so that's helpful. The next day we started the last leg of this journey home, and we really didn't film much because we were concentrating so hard. I was watching the route very carefully. There's a lot of turns and a lot of moving around when we get to Delaware and approach the ferry, so I had to pick the route carefully so that we wouldn't have to worry as much about not having blinkers and tail lights. Pat did an awesome job of driving and keeping us safe. We made it back to the ferry and limped our way back to New Jersey. It was about a month before either one of us decided we wanted to look at the Scamp and start fixing things after we got home. But if you'd like to know how we worked on getting her back on the road, make sure that you are subscribed so you can see how we work on getting the Scamp roadworthy again. Thanks for being here and sharing your travels with us, and thank you so much to our Patreon members for your support in making these videos.
It's all fair to be where, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again, and though time flies, we'll have enough to realize this bigger than the both of us.